So, a staple of many video games is breakable objects.
Happy trails.
For my game, I want to make adding a breakable object easy to implement. After researching, I found that there is a plugin that comes with Unreal Engine 4 called Apex Destruction. You simply have to just enable it in the plugin section of the editor. It automatically creates a fractured/broken version of your model complete with physics. I first started with this crate that I made. It has a smaller crate inside which determines the thickness of the Destructible. Here's what it looks like when it's fractured. With this kick animation, I set up the ability to kick breakable objects. That's not quite what I intended, so I stopped the crate from flying around the air and created this particle. Then lastly added sounds. Then I implemented health for the Destructible, and when it takes enough damage, it now breaks. I really don't like how the parts just simply disappear. Using the same dither fade out effect that I created in a previous video, the debris now fade away. Then I had a little bit too much fun breaking boxes. The boxes will become more useful going forward, not just as destructible objects, but they will drop items like health, ammo, weapons and other useful stuff. Another staple of video games, especially in the early 90s and throughout the 2000s, are explosive barrels. I created this barrel model and then made it a Destructible. Then I created this explosive particle effect. Building off my Destructible actor, I then implemented the explosion effects, then also added a damage radius. For additional danger, I made the explosion leave a radius of fire that lasts a few seconds on the ground. I then tested it out on some enemies. Next, I will work on the final level for my second demo, which will take place in a supposed abandoned meat processing plant. I made this environment a while ago for testing out the fighting mechanics, but I think I can reuse it for the new level. However, I will need to add some new additions. So I got working on a blackout version of the environment. Then I tested it in game. The idea of this environment is that it appears to be abandoned, but it is in fact being used for criminal activities of this secret cult that has a lot of power and influence around the city. Things such as human trafficking, sacrifices, drugs, violence, etc. Arthur, the player, will be in the cell next to the storage room, and the idea is for the player to break through a wall to get into this section that is currently open. For testing, I created a temporary breakable wall. And this is how it will kind of play out. This section will need an enemy that is blocking the exit, and another enemy looking into the holding cells. I then worked on this little cutscene to emphasize the danger if the player was to leave the room. You won't be able to evade these two enemies unless you are in disguise, but before I get to work on that, I created a captured cutscene that plays if you try to leave the room without getting the disguise. So the cult's attire consists of a black hooded robe, black gloves and boots, and a mask of which is a mold of their leader's face, symbolizing everything that they do is in the name of their leader. I then populated this storage room with some assets to give me more of an idea of where I'm headed. I also added a rack of robes and masks. The player will just simply interact with this, and now you are in disguise and you can no longer get caught. With the new disguise, the gang are fooled. They just think that you are one of them. Now the player has been given a task.
Finally, take care of the body in the torture room. It's starting to stink. When you are finished, go find Donovan Graves. He should be upstairs, inducting the new followers.
The simple objective is to pick up a dead body in this chair. This is the temporary model just to show you what I mean. Then you are to place the body on this sort of shredding, chopping machine, which chops and drains its blood and finally disintegrates the remains. I then fleshed out the meat chopping machine's model and texture, and here's what I have. I then spent a while texturing and modeling the environment to help set the tone. It's not final, but here it is. I then got to work on the dead body character model. I'm simply retexturing my base character model that I had made. Then I got to work on a chopped up version of the dead body. Lastly, I spent quite a while working on the first version of the level.
Finally, take care of the body in the torture room. It's starting to stink. When you are finished, go find Donovan Graves. He should be upstairs, inducting the new followers.
So that's pretty much it for now. More on this level in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to my Patreon members.